That's us recording now. So good afternoon, Carole. Nice to
Hi,
see you
Anya.
again.
Lovely to see you.
And hello to all the students who are hopefully watching us. Myself and Carole are here today to present another one of our library cafes. And today we want to talk you through, again, some couple of supports we've identified, I suppose, to really help people, help students who are feeling, I suppose, overwhelmed is the word, Carole, isn't it? Isn't that what we're hearing from
Oh,
students?
yeah. I think this lockdown has been much harder than the first one, and any novelty factor there might have been has long gone. And it's really hard to stay motivated and find any passion in learning when you're stuck at probably your bedroom in front of a laptop day in, day out. And it
Yeah,
gets you down. And I know I can speak for myself, you sometimes just feel in a rut.
yeah,
And it's hard to get motivated and get going. And I know some of our students I'm just seeing here, not good studying from home. Yeah, I can
that's
really, and it
it.
is tough. And so
It
yes, there's
is.
days have been awful,
Yeah,
but
I know.
there are things we can do. I've been lucky enough to have been sent on a few little courses
Yeah,
on well-being and just resilience and how to make
great.
the most of things. And when you put some of the tips into practice, they really do help.
Yeah,
And there is help
absolutely.
there.
And you're so right, Carole. And I mean, I know that if you're listening to this as a student, you're probably not going to care too much what the likes of myself, Carole, are feeling. But maybe just to say to you that if you are like some of these students have shared with us, you're finding it awful, it's tough, your workload is very heavy. Somebody mentions their lectures taking hours to watch, and we might come back again to that, really struggling with being at home and so on. Look, it's different obviously for us at the other side of it, but absolutely we empathize, we feel the same way as well. And I think myself and Carole were chatting before we started recording, and we said the hardest part of this period of lockdowns is we don't have any definite end point. And for yourself as students, you're probably really recognize that nearly the entirety of semester two is going to be online delivery and that remote studying and working to a large extent. And that's really what we want to kind of challenge you. So the comments you're seeing on screen now, as Carole referred to, we asked you as students to give us some feedback from Instagram, a question about how you were feeling and how we could support you. And we got some hard to read comments, but we want to take the next few minutes to introduce you to ways that we can help you. So I've been sharing those now, and I suppose I might start with this point and we'll come back to it in a few moments. But the library, we like to think of it that we're still open. I know it's not the same. You can't come in and study, which is what Sinead in our comments has mentioned. But in terms of accessing our resources and our supports and us in terms of being there to help you, we're open for that. And yeah, it's not the same as coming into us, but we hope it's not the same as not having any contact with us. Let me just
You're
move
right,
it.
Anya,
Yeah, go
because we
ahead,
have
Carol.
the chat box on the library web page.
Absolutely.
And if you're in and out of any of our student guides, there our lib guides there, you can chat there. And we're always available to help. And it's like we miss the library as well. And it's I'm
Yeah.
always saying this to people. I'm more decades in this profession than I'd care to admit to. And it's what we love to do as a group of people. People don't go into library work because they hate helping. They do it because they love helping people. And we miss those queries. So we love when we get asked a question and if there's any way we can support you. So don't sit at home thinking, oh, I've asked it before. It doesn't matter. We're here, there's a
Exactly.
team of us. And in any way we can, we'll help you get through this semester and show you really the wonderful range of supports we have, all at your fingertips, really.
Yeah, no, that's so true, Carol, and thanks for saying that because, I know when you've no one else to check it with, you might be thinking, well, is this what the library's for? When they say get in touch, do they mean get in touch with this? But there's no query that we don't want to receive. If we're not the right person, we'll help put you in touch with who is. What I'm sharing with you on screen now is what we're calling scaling for success. So if you joined us in last semester, you remember we had a different infographic where we had a roadmap to try and take you through particular skills we felt were important in semester two. We're trying to even make it a bit easier this semester. What we've identified is, first of all, our role, like everybody across the campus, your lecturers, the other support units, is to support our students, recognizing that this semester is a really heavy load for all of you to have on you. You might have thought you'd be more back on campus and you're not. And we want to see what we can do to support you. And we've broken that into kind of 4 key areas, which you can hopefully see there on screen: that of well-being, time management, successful assignments, and exam preparation. And what we're doing with this graphic is, I suppose, setting out for you, and you'll find this is going to be up shortly on our Support for Students guide. It's going to be circulated on social media, so you can take a further look. But the idea is we will help you with a couple of supports around well-being that in practical ways make you feel a bit more, I suppose, grounded and less overwhelmed. We'll try and make some suggestions about ways you can manage your time a little bit more effectively, so that you're not trying to do everything at once and you're actually looking after yourself and taking things in bite-sized chunks where you can. And we know that crucially throughout the semester, you're still expected to submit assignments, and how can we help you be successful with those? And you will have exams to do, either in the form of time limited or open book exams, or with additional continuous assessments throughout the semester. And we want to make sure that we're meeting your needs at every step. And we'll do this in a number of ways. We'll be telling you more each week, and we'll use this forum of the Library Cafe to tell you more about that. And Carole, you came up with the great suggestion. I'm just going to move out of this screen again, but you came up
Yeah,
with
it's
the great
just if we
suggestion.
start at the very beginning, which is
Yeah,
well-being, all of the others are kind of insurmountable if you're not taking care of yourself. And sometimes you have to help yourself first. You get up in the morning and go straight into listening to a very long lecture or trying to face that assignment, and maybe little niggles at the back of your mind, oh my God, I can't remember how you do this, or sure, I'm never going to be able to do that.
yeah,
But you know what? We have a big suite of online tutorials to help you. So if you've forgotten what's the best way to successfully find information, or how do you reference something, or Anya, you probably show on the screen there, there's just a
that's
huge
it.
array of self-help. They're all only minutes long. And
Yeah,
I would suggest, why don't you, I call it, isn't that the term now? Eat the frog. Do
eat
the
the
thing
frog.
that's in
Yeah,
your way first thing in the morning.
great
I would
expression.
suggest carve up your day by saying, I'm going to start every day by giving myself 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, just a little recap on
Yeah,
something that the library can help me with. And by the end of the week, you've built up or refreshed, or maybe you missed some of them in semester one. You've refreshed those skills. That will just add to your confidence
yeah,
as you set off to do assignments or to tackle certain projects.
yeah,
And the thing about very long lectures, if they are pre-recorded, just break them up.
yeah.
And if, stop and take a little break and go
Take, yeah,
back. And
that's
again,
it.
if there's a question, you know, it might be, you can maybe put a question into the chat box or whatever, but be kind to yourself.
Yeah,
So as I say, on the library homepage, there you'll see the tab guides and tutorials.
there you
And
go.
when you go in there, look at all the support we have.
Yeah. So we've a bit like Carole just said about the lectures, we're a bit the same. I mean, we have loads of guides. So we're not saying to you, you need to look at them all or that you need to go hell for leather into it. And we know you don't have the time to anyway. So today, like Carole said, I think it's an absolutely excellent tip. I've gone into learning resources here, and there's a guide here called List Online, and we've shown you a lot of these tabs and these guides when we've met you and done the Library Cafe in last semester. We haven't, I think, focused in on List Online too much. So some of you know about lists that we do in person, and we're going to be having that coming back in an online format this semester. That's for another day. List Online is what the name suggests, an online equivalent of the list sessions we do, which are all about upskilling you to do things more effectively. So for us, if it helps you do an assignment better, if it helps you be calmer when you're approaching your studies, if you feel more well supported for exams, then it's useful to you. And you'll see the wide range of things we have available. And Carole just mentioned there, a lot of these are somewhere around the 3 to 4 minute mark tops. Some of them are shorter. We've really basic ones like actually finding an item on your reading list, or you can get a little bit more detailed and find out information about doing research. And different students at different times need different topics. And even your first action might be just to visit this page and explore it. So it was our library homepage, guides and tutorials, and then list online. I wanted to show you one tab here before we move on. This is library videos.
Oh
And I
yeah, these are
mentioned about,
great.
these are great. Our colleague
Yeah.
Fiona, that if you've ever watched the Library Cafe before, you might have seen Fiona as well. But Fiona has done a lot of these, and then different members of our team as well have done it. They're just very short, practical. How do I do certain things? And I'm going to be showing you even more on our YouTube site in a moment. But those are literally a couple of minutes long. They're very, very short and easy to use. And I really liked your tip, Carol, whereby maybe a bit of a thing for you to do is when you sit down at the desk before you plunge straight into an online or an asynchronous lecture, would you consider glancing through this page and picking one or two that are relevant to you now to take a look at? And Carol, you also had a good point about you might want to look at them now, but just if you know they're there
Yeah.
for the
And for
future.
anyone who's forgotten what we've just
Yeah,
said,
anyone who's
just pop a
forgotten.
question in. Where are those videos you were talking about or list online? So
Yeah,
we're talking for ages now. So what was the
yeah,
second thing on
yeah. We're
our
talking for
scaling to
yeah, because we
success?
want to
Was that the
keep it. I,
timekeeping? We
yes,
touched on that a
so
little bit.
we touched on timekeeping a little bit, and I suppose our idea is with these kind of videos, they'll both help you on the well-being and the timekeeping. The more you know about how to do something, you might feel more relaxed and not as overwhelmed. And equally, these type of videos will they'll help you to manage your time a little bit more. The next item that I'm going to jump to a little bit is to show you the support for students. Now, you're probably well used to us going on about this. I'm just going to link straight into the tab. So this is another guide. So where I showed you to go to list online, this is our working remotely guide. And again, this is the guide we created in the library for all of our users. So it's yourselves as students, it's our research community, and it's our staff, because everyone is finding it challenging. And the tab that's support for students, the name tells you all about it. The idea is that we are going to, throughout the semester, provide you with information that's relevant to you at that point in need. So you can already get a sense of what my colleague Saoirse, who's been doing some work on the page, has put up there. So you can see there's the details of this, the Library Cafe, and accessing previous library cafes that we've done this semester. And each week we'll be updating it as we go through the semester, so we know roughly when you start to focus on your assignments, and we'll provide you with some support in that, and equally as we move through to the exam section. Carol, you mentioned the chat service, and just
It's
here, if
there
you'd forgotten
again.
about it, there it is again. You'll find a lot of our guides do that. They kind of refer you back, because we know it's hard sometimes to remember, well, where did she say we go to for this, and so on. And what I wanted to mention kind of finally before we finish up really is some more resources that aren't from within Maynooth. They're part of a project that has been carried out across the universities called EDTL, and this is about support for a range of people, but one section which is led by students like yourself, student interns. They've produced an absolutely brilliant suite of resources that support students. So I'll click on this one, and Carol, I think you can't see it in too much detail there just as it pops out, but I'm going to go into the website in a minute. But I think, Carl, you were again, you mentioned it at the very outset, that idea of if you do have long lectures, if you are feeling overwhelmed, that
Help
there's
yourself to
ways
these supports, guys. I think our time is nearly up, if not already up. But
already up.
if you've
Yeah.
forgotten everything, just go to the homepage. Even if you start with this working remotely guide, the student support to get you started, use the chat function to get back in touch with us. And just remember, be kind to yourselves.
I think that's really well summarized, and you'll see popping out there this particular graphic that gives you some tips and some of the points that Carol touched on there. There's a whole collection of resources on this link here, and we'll circulate that link again in social media in the coming days, and make sure that we have the link in on the support for students page, which I think we do. So this is the EDTL approach. It's for students by students. So a particular project where student interns were identified, including in Maynooth, and each one of those students identified ways that students could be supported. The graphic I showed you is one of them, but there is a whole suite of resources identified within your university that will help you. So specifically for Maynooth as well as the wider ones, and you can see all that information on this page here, and that section there for students. It's all there, including the individual student guides, and there's the one from Maynooth University. And it's just great because as opposed to being ourselves talking to you, it's students who know what other
Yeah.
students need to know.
Oh, they're
We're going to
excellent.
Yeah, and we're going to leave it there for today. And thanks, Carol. I'll stop sharing just to say
Nice
goodbye
chatting
to
with
you.
you, Áine. And
Lovely
the best
chatting
of
to
luck to
you.
all our students.
Absolutely. And thank you for listening today. And I think the final message we'd say, Carol, is please get in touch. Ask us the questions.
Oh, yeah.
Have us working for you, because that's what we want to be doing. And have confidence that you are going to do well and you're going to be supported throughout the coming months. Carol, thank you very much. Lovely to chat to you today.
A pleasure.
Great. I'm
Bye,
going to stop
Áine.
recording now. Bye, Carol.